Welcome back to Let's Keep It Real. On today's video, we look at the link between state and federal politics. This is the Rigged Game, Part 11, One Machine, Two Levels. You've felt it even if you couldn't quite say it. You vote in a state election, you vote in a federal election, and somehow nothing changes. Same pressure on your bills, same fights over housing, same excuses. Maybe you've told yourself, state and federal are different games, different issues, different people. So it's not really rigged, it's just two separate systems, both a bit broken. I want to challenge that today, because right now in Victoria, there's a live example of exactly how connected these two levels really are. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Victoria is heading to an election on the 28th of November, 2026. Labor's been in power there since 2014. Cost of living is crushing people, cost of doing business is crushing small operators. And there's a real hunger across the political spectrum for something else. One Nation has surged. In South Australia, they already outpolled the Liberal Party outright. In Victoria, the same wave is building. So here's the question worth asking. If the Liberal Party and One Nation both want Labor gone, why wouldn't they just work together? The answer to that question is where this gets interesting. Victorian Liberal leader Jess Wilson has ruled out a formal alliance with One Nation. Publicly, she's been clear. No discussions, no deal, we stand on our own platform. Pauline Hanson, on the other hand, has said she'd be willing to work with the coalition to get rid of Labor. So, no deal, right? Not quite. Because there's a second way parties combine forces, and it doesn't need a press conference or a handshake, it's called a preference deal. In Victoria's lower house, if a Liberal candidate can't win a seat outright, their votes flow to whoever they've preferenced next. In the upper house, which is decided proportionally, region by region, preference flows can be the difference between a party winning a seat or not. A Liberal leader can say publicly, there is no alliance. And her party can still direct preferences to One Nation ahead of Labor, seat by seat, region by region, achieving the exact outcome an alliance would have delivered, without ever calling it one. This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's how our electoral system has worked for decades, state and federal both. The ballot paper does the deal the leader won't admit to. And that's not a Victorian quirk, that's the game. Here's why this matters far beyond Victoria. People assume state parties and federal parties are basically separate organizations that happen to share a name. They're not. Same head office, same major donors. Same factional networks, often running across both levels at once. Same politicians, moving between state and federal seats when the party decides. A political party doesn't think in silos. It thinks in outcomes. Win seats, hold power, protect the donors and industries that fund it wherever the opportunity sits. State or federal, it's one machine playing one long game. Now, voters don't always cooperate with that plan. Someone furious at a state premiere over hospitals and housing doesn't automatically transfer that anger to a federal prime minister over tax and immigration. That's real, and it's fair. But here's what should concern every Australian. The parties are coordinated at the top, even when the results look messy at the bottom. Donors don't care which level protects their bottom line as long as one does. And if a threat shows up, a new party, a real alternative, the system has quiet tools like preferences to manage that threat without ever admitting it's happening. That's the rigged game, not one big conspiracy. Dozens of small, legal, everyday mechanics, all working in the same direction. So back to the question. If Australians could see this clearly, the shared donors, the shared machinery, the quiet preference deals doing the work public alliances won't, would it change how they vote? I think a lot of you already sense the answer. You've felt for years that your vote doesn't move the needle the way it should. You felt that the two big parties agree more than they let on. You felt like the choice you're given is smaller than it looks. You weren't wrong, you just didn't have the words for it yet, or the proof. That's what this series is for. Not to tell you what to think, to give you the language and the evidence for what you already know in your gut. Victoria, this November, is a live test case. Watch what the parties say, then watch where the preferences actually go. The gap between those two things, that's the rigged game in real time. And here is what the Bible says. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. Matthew 11:15. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Sovereignty, truth, and faith. That's what we are about on Let's Keep It Real.